Thank you. And let's start with the blessing that we make before we learn Torah. If you've already made the blessing this morning, it does not need to be repeated. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al divrei Torah. So today we're going to be learning about Abraham. Abraham was a very special man, as you surely know. Now, we're going to learn about how he prayed for a child, and we're going to learn some beautiful things along the way. So we're going to jump right in over here. Sorry. Source number one. Chaim, would you like to read source number one? Actually, you know what? I'm going to pause you for a second. I'm just going to introduce it again. There are many great, if you look at many roads, many highways, many buildings, many of them have names on them. Why do they have names on them?
Builders have egos.
Because the builders have egos. Okay, that's one way to put it. Let's say, I think that now building Obama Presidential Library or something, which costing like hundreds of millions of dollars, 800 million or something, 400 million. I don't remember. But why would he want to do that?
All the presidents.
Right. Because they want that their legacy should live on even after their life, right? People are willing to pay a lot of money. An interesting story about, do you know how the Nobel Peace Prize came to be?
Yes.
No.
Nobel.
Tell us the story.
Nobel was needed to weapon dynamite.
Louder.
He felt guilty about the destruction at the time. Right?
Almost. It's similar to that. But the catalyst was, so Nobel was the one who invented dynamite, and he had two brothers who were big in the oil industry. And he once went to visit them, and so all three brothers were together, and one of them died in an accident. And the reporters didn't do a good job of verifying which brother it was who died. And he wakes up in the morning, Alfred Nobel wakes up in the morning and looks at the newspaper, and the big headline says, "The merchant of death is dead." So he got to read his own obituary, and it wasn't very kind. That's the way I heard the story. Does that sound right?
I've never heard that. I just heard that, he felt guilty about all the destruction.
I've heard that.
Yeah? Okay. So he took the majority of his wealth and invested it so that now when you think of Nobel, you don't think of dynamite. Nobody even knows that. Oh, I shouldn't say nobody, but many people don't even correlate the two together, Nobel with dynamite. When you think about Nobel, you think about the Nobel Peace Prize and the wonderful advances in sciences and medicine and terrorism. And no, I apologize. My misspoke.
Yeah.
And no, I just from what I understand, there are certain people who got the Peace Prize throughout the years who were not necessarily. For example, right? So,
Having Kissinger for controversial.
right. Anyway,
Barack
so
Obama could be politically correct.
No,
For me.
Barack Obama.
well, we gotta be careful not to get into politics here. We gotta be careful not to get into politics here. That's one of the rules. We can't speak. We can speak about anything besides religion and politics. So, so we see that people are willing to invest lots and lots of money so that their memory should be recalled. Let's look about how that played out with Abraham. Okay, I'm sorry for interrupting you, Chaim. Please read source number one.
After these words of Abram's, God's word came to Abram in a vision, saying, "Do not fear punishment, Abram. I am a shield for you. Furthermore, your reward will still be very great. Abram said, God, of what benefit would anything be that you would give me, seeing that I am childless, and because I have no son, the steward of my household is Eleazar of Damascus.
Okay. So Rashi explains what was going on here. Why is Abraham complaining to God? Go on.
Steward of my household. Its meaning is, as Okelis translates it, the provider.
And you know what? I'm going to pause you again for a second. Who was Onkelos? It's a very interesting story. Onkelos was actually a Roman officer who ended up writing the foremost Aramaic translation on the Torah. How would a Roman general or officer, sergeant, I don't know what level he was in rank in the army, he was a nephew of the Caesar. How could he come to writing a thing on the Torah?
Why would he even want to?
And why would he want to? The answer is
Just horribly bad.
that he actually came to join the task force to quash the rebellion of the Jews, and he defected and he converted. He saw what Judaism was. He understood the persecution that was going on, the unfair persecution. He fell in love with Judaism, and he converted. And when his uncle, the Caesar, found out about this, he got very angry. How could it be that a nephew of the king has defected and become Jewish? He sent some of his greatest army to go and bring him back dead or alive. And they come to him, and he says, "Come inside. Why don't you sit down?" And he starts explaining to them some of the beauty of Judaism, and they all converted. So he sent a second set of legions. The same thing happened. Now he's furious. He sent his greatest men to go, and he warned them, "Don't you dare say even a word to him. You are to go, put him in chains, and bring him back." And
Now
they go.
he's got a small army in front of him.
Right? So they go to Onkelos, and they come to his house, and as he's leaving the house, he kisses the mezuzah. And the soldiers look at him and say, "What was that?" He says, "Oh, it's very simple. A king of flesh and blood has um has how's the word now? What was the word to use? Do you remember? A king has officers and guards outside to protect him, but the Jewish people, God stands by our doorway to protect us, and that's what the mezuzah is representative of. When we have a mezuzah on the doorway, and God grants us protection, we don't have to protect our God. Our God protects us. And these people, they loved that, and they came inside and they started learning, and they converted too. So at this point, the Caesar said, "Okay, we're just going to push this matter under the rug, and we will forget that it happened." And so he converted, and he became a great scholar, and he translated the Torah into Aramaic. And many of the difficult to understand words of the Torah or concepts of the Torah, through his translation, can be understood. So Ben Meshek Basi is a weird wording. So that's why Rashi is quoting the translation of Onkelos, because we understand Aramaic a little better sometimes than the Hebrew that's of the Torah, and therefore Rashi says the meaning is, like Onkelos said, that Meshek means a provider in my house. All right, sorry for that, but I hope it was interesting history.
It is interesting.
The steward of my household. Its meaning is, as Onkelos translates it, the provider in my house, i.e., the person by whose orders my entire household is provided for, similar to, and by your orders will all my people be provided for, i.e., my steward. Were I, however, to have a son, my son would be in charge of my affairs. Damascus, according to Onkelos' translation, it means that he came from Damascus. But according to an
Agadic
Agadic
explanation.
explanation,
It's like a medrash kind of explanation.
he was so called because he had pursued the kings until Damascus. In the Talmud, it is explained as an acrostic, one who draws and gives drink to others of the teachings of his master.
Okay, so
What
that's
do
what
you
Rashi
mean?
explains.
How does it mean to keep the king?
So that's a very good question. And the answer is that in today's there's a custom to read a portion of the weekly Torah portion every day. So one aliyah, we have 7 aliyahs in the Torah portion. We read one aliyah every day. So in today's aliyah, we learn the story of how there were the 5 kings and the 4 kings. If anyone remembers, there was the nephew of Abraham went to live in a place called Sodom or Sodom and Gomorrah, which you may be familiar with. And before the cities were overturned, they were big, huge, populated areas. And there were 5 kings who were subservient to a greater coalition of 4 kings. And they had to pay tax to the 4 kings. And at some point, they decided we're not paying taxes anymore, we are rebelling. And so for 13 years, they did not pay tax. And in the 14th year, the 4 kings came and waged war to re-subjugate the 5 kings in those areas. Someone came and told Abraham, your nephew is in big trouble because there's a huge war going on. Your nephew is an important person, and go save him. So Abraham goes together with his Eliezer, who we're talking about, and a very small army. They end up defeating the 4 kings, winning back the spoils and all the children and the women that were taken as captives by the 4 kings. And that is the battle of the kings that we're talking about, that Eliezer chased the kings all the way to Damascus.
Was Abraham still in Ur at this time, or was he already in Israel?
He was already in Israel at this time. Good questions. All good questions. Okay, Chaim, would you like to continue? The Torah continues. Abraham.
Abraham continued, look, you have given me no children. Eleazar, a mere member of my household, will inherit me. At that moment, the word of God came to him, saying, this person will not be your heir. Rather, one born from your own flesh will inherit you. God took Abram outside his tent, said, look towards heaven and count the stars. If you can count them, he said to him, that is how numerous your descendants will be. Abram believed in God, and God accounted it for him as an act of righteousness.
Thank you very much. So that is the background that sets the stage for today's discussion. Page number 2, Eliezer of Damascus. When Abraham speaks about Eliezer, saying that he, and not Abraham's son, would inherit all that he owned, he emphasizes, the steward of my household is Eliezer of Damascus. With this, Abraham is highlighting Eliezer's virtues, as Rashi explains. A, the steward of my household, the person by whose orders my entire household is provided for. In other words, when Abraham needed to manage his affairs, Eliezer ran them on his behalf and did so successfully. So, number 1, Eliezer is a great CEO, COO, whatever you want to call it.
Chief of staff.
Yeah. B, of Damascus. He had pursued the kings until Damascus. That means that when Abraham had gone to war, Eliezer led the fight and achieved victory. And C, on page number 3, Damascus is also interpreted as an acronym for one who draws and gives to drink to others from his master's teachings. Meaning, when Abraham studied and spread the knowledge of the Creator in the world, Eliezer received his teachings and carried out the mission of spreading them further. So the word Damasek could stand for Doile Mashke. So we have 3 great things about Eliezer. He was a wonderful man. He was a capable man. He was a strong man. He was a religious man. And Zalman, would you like to read for us source number 2 from the Talmud in Tractate Yoma?
Eliezer was a veteran yeshiva student. As the verse says, Abram said to his servant Eliezer, the oldest member of his household who ruled over all he had. And Rabbi Eliezer said, this means he mastered his teacher's teaching. He is Eliezer of Damascus. Rabbi Eliezer said he drew and gave to drink his teacher's wisdom to others.
Okay. So, the question is, let's just read it inside. It's a very good question. I love the way the Rebbe puts this out here. So, on page number 4, the Rebbe, why emphasize Eliezer's qualities? There is an apparent difficulty here. Given the context of Abraham's argument before God, what is the use of all you have given me? It would have been enough for Abraham to say, you have given me no offspring, and the one who will inherit me is a member of my household, meaning that his heir would be a stranger. Why then does Abraham emphasize in arguing that his heir is a stranger, that this person is one who possesses all the admirable qualities mentioned above? Why is it relevant for us to know this to the extent that the Torah relates Abraham's praise of Eliezer in detail? In other words, if he's complaining to God and saying, God, I need a child because who's going to inherit me? This guy? You should say to God, well, look who you gave me. This Shlemazel over here, and he's going to be the one who's going to inherit me, this klutz. But Abraham's not doing that. Abraham's saying, wow, you gave me such a capable chief of staff, one who understands everything that I'm saying and takes in and learns everything that I'm saying and brings it to others. So please give me my own child. Well, if this guy's capable, what's wrong with just letting him inherit you? So it seemingly would weaken his argument. The explanation is that this detail contains a profound lesson that sheds new light on the entire episode. Human nature is such that every person desires to see success in the areas to which they devote their efforts. Some people find their energy and passion in business and commerce. Others are driven by the pursuit of conquering new lands. Wait, did I? I
No,
skipped.
it's good.
I did skip.
Wait,
I skipped source
sounds
number
like
3.
water there.
Guys, live.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I mean that's pretty much what it says. So there's a list of 9 people who entered paradise alive, which means that they were very special and had a very great merit. And one of those was Eliezer. Okay, I'm sorry. So let's continue over here. Others are driven by the pursuit of conquering new lands, even the ambition to conquer the world. Page number 6. Meaning they seek new fields of activity to master and prove their superiority in them. So it doesn't necessarily mean becoming Mr. Putin and starting to invade your neighboring countries, though, some people, that's what they have. And there are others who feel like they want to, take on new hobbies or prove to the world that they are the best at this or the best at that, and constantly, becoming the best at everything and flooding the industry. Sorry?
Or at least bragging about doing the best.
Okay. Yep. Still others devote their entire focus. What?
Bragging.
Oh, bragging.
Yeah. Still others devote their entire focus to spreading their faith or teachings, their ideals throughout the world. At first glance, all these people share a common trait. When they see success in their endeavors, whether it's spreading their faith and teachings or conquering new territories, expanding and developing their business ventures, they feel that they have achieved the central goal and ultimate purpose of their lives.
What's my big
6? Sorry, 5?
one?
Yeah, 5.
There's
So,
also a political aspect to it. But if succession of a ruler is strictly by hereditary, then there's no question as to who the next ruler is. But if it's been people who aren't raised one, maybe someone
And here.
comes to alive
Where are we?
Eliezer and say, well, I'm just as good as he is, so
He's
I can
commenting.
come in.
interesting. We shall see.
Hereditary,
You're saying it's a stronger power.
yeah.
But I think the Rebbe is not talking about necessarily how capable the person is, but we'll see the direction that the Rebbe is going to take this. But the bottom line is
It's a
that
more hereditary
Is a more
power is more
right.
stable
right,
and democratic, but stable.
right, stable for who?
Stable for
Right.
rulers.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So people who feel like they've like they've achieved once they whatever their personal goals are, and people feel very good about that. The Torah, however, teaches that seeing success is only half the job. When can a person truly feel satisfied and joyful from spreading his faith and teachings, conquering new spheres of activities, or developing successful enterprises? When can they see these as meaningful goals and derive pleasure from them? Only when they know that all these efforts will be continued not by a stranger but by their own children. It is human nature not to be content merely with the knowledge that one's work will be carried on by someone capable. They want it to be continued specifically by their own child. Otherwise, the continuity and preservation of everything, page number 6, that Abraham stood for, may not be assured. Exactly like what Zalman was saying. This highlights that a person's true reward is when all of their life's accomplishments and achievements are carried forward by their children and grandchildren. Only then are those achievements complete and endowed with enduring value. Like we will see that in 2 weeks' time, the Torah portion is called the life of Sarah. Why is the Torah portion called the life of Sarah, where it begins with Sarah's death and continues with the life of Isaac? Why is that portion called the life of Sarah? Because where do we truly see that Sarah lived is that she had a child who continued in her legacy. It is for this reason that Abraham, in speaking to Hashem, emphasizes Eliezer's virtues when he says, "You have given me no offspring." Even though he had a loyal servant like Eliezer, the student of my household, Eliezer of Damascus, who would surely continue to spread his teachings, expand his enterprises, and conquer all the realms he sought to reach, Abraham nevertheless says to God that this is not the reward he seeks. What is the use of all that you have given me? Abraham's deepest desire was to have children of his own, children who would carry on all the work and missions for which he had fought, risked his life, and sought God's blessing or success. So he was saying, yes, you're giving me a wonderful man, but that's not what I want. Abraham was teaching us and requesting of God that he should have his own child that would continue on in his ways.
That's a good example of what I just said. It just occurred to me.
Mhm.
Muhammad,
Go on.
he didn't have any children of his own.
Mm-hmm.
So when he died, there were two people who claimed it, his brother-in-law and his nephew. And that's how the Sunni and Shiites came about.
Interesting. Okay.
They each had their own followers and they broke apart. How one became Sunni and one became Shiite.
Very interesting.
Muhammad had a son, he would have,
It would
Probably-
have been very simple.
yeah.
Okay.
You're looking at me like I should have known that?
So, but who are you talking about?
Muhammad,
Oh, Muhammad.
yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
We can't hear what he's saying anyway.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. My microphone must be dirty today. He was saying that Muhammad had no children, and so he had a brother-in-law and a nephew who were fighting over the inheritance of the religion that he had created.
No.
Maybe they were fighting over the inheritance also. I don't know.
Whatever. Yeah.
Anyway,
Well, there was also some dispute about whether or not Muhammad had actually named his successor or not.
so
Well,
anyways,
yeah,
that
that-
really
That's,
split it
that's,
into two
that
different
was that's
factions.
part of the split too.
But if he had a son, then,
Right, yeah, right,
you know,
right,
I mean, he's-
right.
Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
Right.
Exactly.
Grandfather, father, son.
Yeah. Page number 6 on the bottom. This serves as a lesson and directive for each of us. Waging a campaign or struggle for a certain ideal, such as for spreading Torah so that it reaches every corner of the world, is not enough. Page number 7. We must also ensure that our children and entire families will be faithful continuers of that work. Not only continuers, but dedicated participants and fighters for the same ideals and the same truth for which their parents and grandparents struggled. This matter is so crucial that even when God grants abundant reward, the reward will be very great, and even the greatest reward imaginable that only God himself can grant, as long as there is no assurance that one's life work will be carried forward, specifically by their own child, a person feels no satisfaction in the reward nor in the struggle that they dedicate their life to.
Who decided that? I mean, that's awfully personal, isn't it?
It
There
is.
must be people who, yeah.
It is.
to say that.
It is very much, and we'll get into more of a discussion later because many people, and I would say most of the people, um, yeah, many people do not have children. So how do we apply this if
Right,
we do not have children? So
right.
we'll get to that. But the first thing is understanding Abraham, why he specifically wanted for his to have a
Oh,
child of his own,
oh, yes,
and the
yes.
desire that exists for people to have a child of their own. I mean, first of all, Abraham was 100 and Sarah was 90, so you got time. Second of all, the fact that this desire is there is not necessarily a negative thing. This
No,
was Abraham's foremost desire, that God was telling him, I'm going to give you riches, I'm going to give you blessing, I'm going to teach you Torah, you're going to have everything, spiritual and physical. And Abraham said, what I want is a child.
yeah,
And it's not necessarily a selfish thing. If you really believe in the work that you're doing, or whatever that may be, the work that you're doing, whatever it is that you're devoting your life to, you want it to be continued by someone of your own.
ideally.
Right. So, I'll get into this now a little bit. There's a beautiful story. There was, I'm forgetting some of the details here. There was a very simple couple who, he was, I think, a butcher. He was very successful, but they didn't have any kids. They had a lot of money, but he was very simple and didn't really know how to learn Torah. And he wanted to know what should he do, because like, he felt empty about his life. And he didn't know much, but he knew that if you teach someone Torah, it is considered, sorry, as if you have given birth to them. If you teach someone Torah, so it says, and you shall teach them to your children in the Shema, and you shall teach them to your children. The Talmud tells us that your children, this refers to your students. That by, and I think we may have discussed this also in a previous lesson, that by bringing someone into the world of Torah, in a certain sense, you have given them a spiritual birth. Elisha,
Yeah.
the prophet who was the successor of Elijah, when Elijah went up to heaven, Elisha cried out to him, my father, the chariot of Israel. Elijah wasn't his father, but because he was his teacher, he referred to him as my father. So this butcher knew that if he could teach kids, then that in that way they could be considered his children. But he didn't know anything, so he couldn't teach anyone. So he felt very depressed. He's like, I don't have my own kids, and I can't teach anyone Torah, so I can't, have spiritual children either. So what do I do? And what will be my legacy? If I'm not mistaken, he came to the Baal Shem Tov with his dilemma. What do I do? And the Baal Shem Tov brought him to a certain town. And the Baal Shem Tov started asking the kids, what are their names? All the girls were some version of, was it Avram Baruch and Rachel Leah? I think I may be mistaking the names, but I'm pretty sure like all the girls that they asked, what are your name? They all were Rachel or Leah or Rachel Leah. And all the boys were either Avram or Baruch or Avram Baruch. And so they came at some point to some towns member and they asked, like, what is going on over here? Why are all the kids have the same name? And so they explained that there was an older couple, childless, and they wanted to leave a legacy. And so what they did is they established, they paid for a Torah center to be built and to be funded. And in their merit, all these kids, the people started calling these kids in the names of this couple, this generous couple that had put up this building or funded this the Torah classes, whatever it was. And so this simple butcher took a message from here. He said, okay, well, maybe I can't teach the kids myself. Maybe I don't have my own kids, but I can definitely fund the Torah institution. And so I don't know if it was I don't remember if it was very well to do or was not very well to do, but he took whatever money he could put aside and he put it aside to outreach, to bringing people closer to Judaism, teaching people about Judaism, and to teaching kids in Jewish schools. And that way, he was able to leave behind a legacy of that would extend beyond his own life.
Right. Yeah, that's lovely.
Question is it charity supposed to be done and out of this place?
It's a good question.
So, I mean, you establish trust, like the Joe Blow scholarship for promising young Jewish kids. That's fine and great, but should you put your name on it?
It's a good question. And the answer is usually it's at this point, it's usually good. Number one, for these people, the purpose was to leave a legacy, and if they don't put their name on it, then where's the legacy?
The legacy is in
In the actions of it. Okay, I hear you. If they're one of the reasons why it's good to put a name is because when people see a name, it encourages them to give as well. So sometimes by putting a name, it won't make a difference. But some people will know that if they put their name on the building, then it's going to encourage others to give or to give more than they would have. And so therefore, putting your name actually causes more good to get done.
I thought it was also good to do things anonymously.
It is. It is
Good-
good to do things
good to
anonymously, but sometimes good to
Yeah.
put the name as well.
Right.
But again, Sek is always you can always choose what do you want to do. Whatever feels more right to you.
Right.
Is both ways are valid.
Yeah. Surely.
Okay. Time for a story. Another story. In 1959, that's a long time ago, before I was born.
I was 1 year old.
You were 1 year old.
Oh, no.
Oh wow, look at
You're the
that.
same age as I am? You're 67?
Yeah.
I thought you said you were 77. Huh? You're 67?
Mhm.
Look at that. What month
Susie,
were
we're
you-
not going to play this game, right?
We're not gonna play this game.
Yeah, but that should be, what month were you born? I'm just curious.
What?
What month were you born in?
February.
Born in April.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
You're 67 too?
No, I'm 70.
Oh, 70.
You're 7? Oh wow, you guys all look so young.
Mhm.
Maybe I'm getting old.
No, father.
So
was
you're
to
only,
be-
you're
my
only a couple
father,
of months
he was-
older than he is.
Was 94, was to be 94, and that was by being a diabetic.
68 years.
Yeah, he probably holds the world record for being on insulin the longest of any.
Wow,
His mother would be 104.
wow. Know the story. This guy comes down. I'm interjecting too much. This guy comes to his doctor for his checkup. 75 years old, and the doctor looks at him, and the doctor goes, "Wow, how are you in such good shape?" He says, "Well, I go jogging every morning, I go swimming twice a week, and I go skiing every quarter." And the guy says, "Oh, impressive. Like, how old was your dad when he died?" He's like, "My dad? Who said he died? My dad is 97 and is still going strong." And the doctor says to him, "Okay, well, how does he do it?" He says, "Well, he goes jogging once a week, he goes swimming once a month, and he goes skiing twice a year." He says, "Wow, when did his dad die?" He said,
Yeah.
his dad is 118 years old, and he's still going strong. He goes jogging once a week, he goes swimming once a week, and he goes skiing once a year, and is actually getting married next month. And the doctor looks at him and goes, who at 118 years old wants to get married? So he says, who said he wants to? His parents are forcing him.
What did he say? Oh, the stupid phone.
Well, have you heard of the Ashkenazi longevity gene?
No?
There's a gene, right? You know, genes can be dominant or
Right.
Louder.
there is a particular gene which, when it's dominant, statistically correlates with longevity. That people over 90 or 95 have a greater, that will have this gene be dominant more often.
Interesting.
In Ashkenazi Jews, this gene is dominant at a significantly higher rate than the general population.
Interesting.
Well, that's good.
I never heard of that. That's very interesting.
Yeah. It's still statistical, but
I hope I fall into that statistic.
Really.
I just had my physical. Doctor said that I'm gonna live to be honored,
Okay.
based,
Amen.
based on hereditary.
Good. Amen. In good health.
Yeah. Oh, he's right.
Yes, I hope so too.
Well, let's see, our paternal great grandfather was like, no, he didn't. Our maternal great grandfather.
Oh, maternal great, okay.
You know, the guy with the long beard.
Yeah.
The, down to belt.
Wow.
Carter. Big collar. Somebody's wedding.
Wow. Okay.
And our maternal grandmother.
That's a lot of good old jeans. What's better than a good pair of old jeans?
Old sweater,
What? Okay.
old sneakers.
Okay. Should we do this? Okay, I'm gonna skip this story. Okay. Page number 8.
Talking about our guys called.
Right. Right. Oh,
Rabbi,
okay.
do you have a microphone that you can hand around?
Say again?
Do you have a microphone you can hand around? Because we
I was
can't
talking
hear
about
what's
Dr.
being
Zeus.
said.
Dr. Zeus, he is our guy was Jewish, and he had no children of his own. And somebody says, "You regret having no children of his own?" He says, "Look, I've educated a couple generations of children. Why should I regret having no children of my own?"
He did. Yep. Yep. Okay, page number 8. This is why we find that the great leaders of the Jewish people, from Moses until today, place the utmost importance on education, on raising children, Jewish children, to be faithful. What? 8.
That's who you are.
No? Did I skip again?
Are you reading?
No, you're right.
Do we have what you're reading?
Page number 8, the critical importance of education.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is why we find that the great leaders of the Jewish people from Moses until today place the utmost importance on education, on raising Jewish children to be faithful continuers of everything for which their ancestors fought and gave their lives throughout the ages. These leaders were not content with merely making proclamations and statements about the need to strive for a world of justice, integrity, and peace. They worked tirelessly to ensure that our children, our grandchildren, and our families would themselves carry the banner of those ideals for which Jews had sacrificed themselves for generations. This is not just an added bonus, something that is merely desirable if circumstances allow. It is the very essence of our true reward for all that we struggled and achieved in life, the ability to educate children who will continue in our own path. And I don't know why I didn't think of this before, but don't feel bad because the Lubavitcher Rebbe himself did not have any children.
Oh, really?
Lubavitcher Rebbe did not have any children.
Is that Schneerson you're talking about?
Right.
Okay. So,
Peter Susie.
in a different talk, in source number 5, Zalman would
How about others?
Baruch, would you like to read for us source number 4 from the bottom of page number 8 and the top of page number 9?
God rebuked Moses by saying to him, I am God. I appeared to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob only as El Shaddai, God Almighty. I was not manifest to them by my name God. I appeared.
So Rashi explains the word I appeared. And he explains
I appeared to the patriarchs.
to the patriarchs. Now let me ask you a question. Who are the patriarchs?
Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
Very good. And what does the verse tell us? That who did he appear to? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And did we not know that those were the patriarchs? Like, what is Rashi adding over here? The Rebbe, source number 5. Joan, would you like to start source number 5 for us?
Sure. Several commentators ask, what does Rashi add by commenting on the verse, I appeared to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob? This is especially difficult in light of what we know from the Shilah, and even more so from the teachings of the older Rebbe and the later Rebbes who followed him. They taught that every word and letter in Rashi's commentary is considered and precise. It is therefore clear that this comment to the patriarchs requires explanation. What exactly is Rashi adding? The explanation is that Rashi intends to highlight that the primary distinction of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob lies in their being patriarchs. Although each of them possessed an individual greatness in their personal divine service, Abraham in kindness, Isaac in strength, and Jacob in harmony, and although each of these qualities was expressed in perfect and boundless form, still that is not their essential greatness. Their true distinction is that they were patriarchs.
Okay, continuing on page number 10.
As the verse says of Abraham, the first of the patriarchs, for I have known him so that he may command his children and his household after him. God's love for Abraham is described not as a result of his personal spiritual greatness, but because he ensured that his descendants will follow his path. And although the word patriarchs does not appear explicitly in the verse, Rashi reveals that this is its deeper meaning. The chief virtue of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, their defining quality, is that they were patriarchs, that they raised their children like themselves.
Beautiful. So what makes Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob special is that they encouraged and that they started something which continued. They weren't just great in themselves, but they created something that lasted, something that continued on to the next generation.
Did Moses have children?
Moses had children, yes. Moses had 2 sons. Yeah.
Why isn't Moses involved in this as a patriarch? Why don't they consider him a patriarch too?
It's a good question. Moses is one of the great leaders of the Jewish people, but he's not one of the forefathers from which we all come.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that really is, because if it wasn't for him.
Yeah.
I hear you. He is the one who gave us the Torah. That's why the Torah is called after his name, the Torah of Moses.
He's not one of the founding fathers.
But he wasn't one of the founding fathers.
Speaking of heredity, then, why did God command the leadership to pass to Joshua, and not one of his?
That's a very good question, and Moses was not happy about that.
No, he wasn't.
No, Moses requested of God, please, can one of my kids, become the next in charge? And God said, no, it's for Joshua.
Mm.
Yep.
Well, when,
I
when
mean,
Moses left,
Moses didn't have a chip on his shoulder about it, but he requested of God that please let one of my kids succeed me. And God said, no, the mantle of leadership will be passed on to Joshua. And that's what Moses did before he passed.
Not for you.
Interesting.
Thank you. Okay. Actualizing Shema. The importance of education is also emphasized in the recitation of the Shema twice each day. We recite Shema when we rise in the morning at the start of the day. At the end of the day, before going to sleep, we recite it once more.
Yeah.
One of the central themes included in Shema is the commandment of education. You shall teach them diligently to your children. This emphasizes that regarding all matters connected to the declaration of the Shema, Hear, O Israel, with which we begin and end our day, we must remember that they must be followed by, you shall teach them to your children. We must transmit, teach, and plant these values in our children so they too will continue to live by them. This is the true blessing a person can ask and receive for God, the spreading of the Torah, the establishment of new endeavors, and all their business affairs will not continue merely by a worthy and faithful person like Eliezer, but specifically by their own children or grandchildren. This leads us to the continuation of the weekly portion where God says to Abraham, take for me a calf, which is the covenant between the pieces. And Rashi explains that this means that the merit through which the Jewish people will remain in the land of Israel is the merit of the sacrifices. Susie, would you like to read for us source number 6?
okay, God said to him, bring for me 3 calves, 3 goats, 3 rams, a turtle dove, and a young dove. Abraham said to God, let me know by what merit my descendants will continue to remain in the land. God answered him, through the merit of the sacrifices.
Okay. Thank you. Every truly good thing must contain an element of giving of yourself. Good things don't come easily. If something comes effortlessly, that itself shows it isn't of real significance and will slip away as easily as it arrived. This is why sacrifice is necessary, and the greater the goal, the greater the sacrifice it calls for. So too here, if we want not only success in what we do, but continuity through our children, we must be ready to make sacrifices, meaning to give of ourselves for the cause of education. Practically speaking, this means financial participation. So here the Rebbe's takeaway is to financially participate in education and in outreach. Key points. Bottom of page number 12. Abraham complained to God, what will you give me? And the steward of my house is Eliezer of Damascus. Eliezer was not an ordinary servant, but an exceptional figure, a capable economic and military manager, a head of a yeshiva who drew and gave to others from his master's Torah, and one of the 9 righteous individuals who entered the Garden of Eden alive. The Rebbe asks, why does Abraham emphasize all of Eliezer's virtues when presenting his complaint? Seemingly that would weaken his argument. And the Rebbe explains that this is precisely Abraham's point. Success in one's career, business, or even spreading ideas is only half the job. True fulfillment, true reward, and most importantly, the eternity of one's life work are achieved only when it continues through one's children. Education is central in Judaism. It is the only way to ensure the perpetuation of God's path. Therefore, the primary greatness of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is not only their personal spiritual achievements, but the fact that they were patriarchs, fathers who instructed their children to follow after them. Immediately after the declaration of faith, when we say, Hear, O Israel, the Torah commands that we shall teach them diligently to your children. This reminds us the continuity of Judaism for future generations depends on the education of our children. Legacy requires sacrifice. Things of true value do not come easily. When God promised Abraham continuity, he commanded him to bring sacrifices, teaching us that if we wish our children to carry on the path, we must be ready to give of ourselves for that purpose. Takeaway. We all strive for success and to build a lasting legacy. Abraham teaches that true success is measured by its eternity. Our real legacy is not only what we achieve ourselves, but what we succeed in passing on to the next generation. That is why our most meaningful investment is in education of the children, and it is not easy. It requires sacrifice. So, for those who have children, take good care of them. For those who don't, take care of other people's children, whether it's children in age, or children in mindset, or children in stage. Get involved in teaching yourself and teaching those around you that everything which you stand for and which you love and hold dear should continue on even after you. L'chaim.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Joan and Susie.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you. Have a good week, Rabbi.
Susie, I guess we'll miss you on Friday night. We're having a Shabbat dinner over here in honor of the rabbi's birthday.
Yes,
When's your
happy-
birthday?
My
Yeah, happy
is
birthday,
this
Rabbi.
Friday. Yeah, thank you.
How
Mm.
old are you now?
How old am I? I'm 19. Just kidding.
Oh, yeah.
No,
Plus,
I'll be 31
Mazel tov.
on this Friday. Yeah. Thursday
Have
night.
a very good year, a healthy one.
Thank
Yes,
you. And
healthy,
Joan,
healthy.
I'm not sure what you're feeling up to, but if you'd like to stop in, we'd love to see you.
Thank you, Rabbi. Thank you.
And if not, feel good.
Uh,
And we'll
thank
catch
you.
you next Wednesday.
Enjoy your birthday with your family and friends.
Thank
Rabbi,
you.
can I speak to you at some time over the phone?
Sure.
When's a good time for you?
Can you call me at about 12:45 today? I think I'll be on the road.
Okay, thank you. Thank
Perfect.
you. Okay.
No worries.
I read.
Where is this one?
Okay. Everyone have a good week. Wish you all a good week.
Thank you. Take care, everyone. All the best.